Hello students. So today we start with the B part of physics, that is your third chapter, which is all about Newton's first law of motion. Newton's first law of motion and a new concept of inertia. Inertia, you might be knowing it, but we'll discuss in detail about inertia. So now it was not Newton, but it was Galileo who first gave the idea about the law of motion. What was that Galileo's law? It was stated as a body continues to be in the state of rest or in the state of motion unless an external force is applied on it. So when an external force is applied on an object, the body will either continue to be at rest or it will continue to move. That was it was Galileo's law. But since the Galileo's time, because of some problems, that is, he had to face problems with the Pope and the monarchy system at that time. So most of the laws were considered to be controversial and were not accepted at that time. Though he was correct, but most of his laws were not approved at that time. But after him, when Newton came forward, he again reconstructed the same thing and he defined the laws. So now when we define the Newton's law, it is almost the same. According to Newton, if a body is in a state of rest, if it is in a state of rest, it will remain in the state of rest until and unless you disturb it. Same way, and if it is in the state of motion, it will remain moving, but in the same direction. And that too with the same speed. But the condition is unless an external force is applied on it. This is what Newton's law suggests, that if a body is in a state of rest, it will continue to remain in the state of rest, and if it is in a state of motion, it will continue to move. It will remain moving, but in the same direction, and that too with the same speed, until and unless some external force is applied on it. For example, if we take some examples like a cycle, okay, a cyclist, for example, a cycle remains moving. A cycle remains moving so long as the pedal, so long as it is being pedaled. But if we stop pedaling the cycle, ultimately it will come to a stop. Yeah, that was one thing. Same way, if we put the engine of a car का engine, car ka engine, there is an engine inside it which is actually making the car to move. So if we put off the engine of the car will stop. Initially it was moving because of the engine. Same way, if a horse cart which was already moving, it was already moving because of the muscular force of the horse. But if you stop the horse, it will come to rest. Same way, if the boat stops, after we stop pushing the oars. Here everywhere you can find that some external force has been applied, because of which the object which was already moving, it has been brought to rest. There are certain examples where the Newton tried to describe. So today the continuation of this will be, hello. So from the definition of Newton's first law, we have discussed about the 2 points, that is, first, if a body is at rest, it remains at rest unless a force is applied on it. So this is about rest. Secondly, we discussed that if a body is moving, it will continue to move. It will continue to move with the same speed and in the same direction again, unless a force is applied. So in both the cases, only and only when the force is applied on an object, the body, if it is at rest, it will remain at rest. Same way, if a body is moving, it will continue to move with the same speed, and that too within the same direction. But condition is until and unless the force is applied on the object. That is the statement about Newton. To go into detail about the Newton's law, we need to learn about the new concept of inertia and what was force, which was already covered in the first part, but again we will go to revision. That is inertia. First of all, what is inertia? Inertia means it is the property, it is an inherent property, inborn property जैसे बोलते हैं inborn property, मेरे में ये features है, मेरे में मुझे ये आता है, मुझे वो आता है. तो same way, like inherent property, like inborn property. In inertia is the property of an object by virtue, by the cause of which it tends to remain. It tends means continues to retain the state of rest or of motion. That is called as inertia. And as I said, it is the inherent property, inborn property, inherent property of each object. हर एक ऑब्जेक्ट के अंदर ये प्रॉपर्टी होता है, बट वी नेवर ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड कि ये किसकी वजह से हुआ. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, बस में चल रहे हो, बस में बैठे हो और चालू बस के अंदर व्हेन यू ट्राई टू क्लाइंब डाउन टू गेट डाउन ऑफ द बस, बट इन द ऑपोजिट डायरेक्शन, ऑब्वियसली तुम गिरने वाले हो. द रीजन will come with inertia. That is, your body was in inertia. When the bus was moving, your body was also moving, and suddenly when the bus stops, your body the body will, lower part of the body will come to a rest, but the upper portion is still moving because the bus was moving. That is the inertia in your body which makes you to fall if you climb in an opposite direction. So that we are going to discuss again. So some examples related to inertia would be, suppose if a book is lying on a table, will remain placed in its place only until it is displaced. Jab tak we don't apply some force, it will remain as it is. It will remain at rest. Same way on a ground surface, if a ball is rolled, ball chal raha hai, आगे जा रहा है, the ball rolling on a horizontal plane keeps on rolling unless some force of friction, okay, there will be a friction, यानी कि ball का surface and the ground का surface, there will be a friction in opposite direction. Ball is moving in this direction, right direction, so the friction will be acting in an opposite direction. So when there is a friction, the object will come to a rest after some time. So that is what I said, a ball rolling on a horizontal plane keeps on rolling unless the force of friction between the ball and the plane stops it. Getting it? That is about inertia. This, what I picked up was Newton's law in parts, that is for the rest and for the motion. Then we came to a concept of inertia. Inertia was the property of an object by virtue of which it tends to retain the state of rest or of motion. If the object is at rest, it will continue to remain at rest जब तक stronger force उसके ऊपर अप्लाई नहीं होता है. Same way, if an object is already moving, it will continue to move until and unless some stronger force tries to stop it. जैसे I told you about the frictional force. Here in this case, the ball rolling, the frictional force was acting on the ball in an opposite direction, because of which it came to rest. सोचो, think about it, if the surface was a frictionless surface, कोई friction नहीं हो रहा है, then the body would have continued to move, वो कभी stop ही नहीं होता था, because already you have applied a force, it is moving and there is no friction between the ground and the ball, so the ball will continue to move. So here the inertia comes into picture. So now we continue about the force which was already explained. Once again we go through the definition and some examples of force. What is a force? Force is that external cause, it is coming from outside. External cause, force is that external cause which tends to change the state of rest or the state of motion of an object. So to go into detail, force is that external cause, it is coming from outside, so that it makes the change in the state of rest or the state of motion. For example, if a book was already lying on the table, if the book is already lying on the table, when you displace it, when you apply some force, when you apply some external cause, what is the external cause? The push, yes, push or a pull, that is your force. So when it is displaced from its place, it will get shifted, it will get displaced. Same way, when a moving bicycle stops, moving bicycle is going to stop when a retarding force, what is the retarding force in this? When the brakes are applied. When the brakes are applied, automatically the cycle will come to a rest. So when applying a brake is also an external cause, which is a force applied on the bicycle. That's why it comes to a rest. So force when it is defined already, since force further we are going to study that it is actually a makeup of mass and acceleration, and since acceleration was a vector quantity, your force is also a vector quantity, because while defining force in the previous part also we mentioned about direction, and therefore the force is a vector quantity. Secondly, very important, the sum of two equal and opposite forces is always 0. How come? Sum of two equal forces. So let one of the force be F bar, F1, let the other force be F2. Okay, but they are in opposite direction. I told you in the first chapter that when opposite forces are there, one is denoted by a negative sign. So when you add the two, that is F1 bar minus F2 bar, the force was same, the magnitude was same, 10 Newton था, ये भी 10 Newton है. So ultimately 10 minus 10 comes out to be 0. That is why it is said that the sum of the two equal forces, 10 Newton, 10 Newton, but in opposite direction. Since it is opposite, we apply negative sign, and when you subtract it, it comes out to be 0. Here it is. Okay, this case was dealing with only two forces, but in everyday life on an object, plenty of forces may be acting, on an object. So if a body is acted upon by so many or several forces, can also have the resultant, that is the final total, the resultant net force on it, which will equal to 0. For example, if you try to understand this, on an object, force F1 is acting, a second force F2 is acting, a force F3 is acting, a force F4 is acting. But can you see that F1 and F2 both are in opposite direction? They cancel each other and it is 0. Next is F3 and F4, again in an opposite direction, they will cancel each other. So in this way, even if there are several forces acting on an object, by the rule of vector arithmetic, they will cancel each other and ultimately it will equal to 0. That is, a body acted upon by several forces can also have the resultant net force on it equal to 0. That is about the force. So after understanding the concept of inertia and the force, we come to a relationship between mass and inertia. Mass and inertia. What is the relation between mass and inertia? 2 minutes. Okay. As we studied inertia, all the properties of inertia is just because of the mass of the body. That is how they are related. If greater is the mass, then greater would be the inertia. And the opposite of it would be, if the body is lighter, the inertia will be less. And that is the reason why the lighter objects can be lifted or displaced easily. Why? Because the inertia is very less. Whereas in case of a greater mass, a big boulder or a wall or something very heavy, it takes a greater inertia. Since the mass is greater, it will have a greater inertia and it will become difficult to push or pull the object. Getting it? For example, okay, in the textbook, two give reasons are been mentioned. Here we deal with a cricket ball and a tennis ball. Now, you all can tell me which is much heavier and which is lighter, or a cricket ball is more massive. Okay, here the mass of this cricket ball is maximum and that of tennis ball is less. The mass is less. The cricket ball acquires much smaller velocity. The cricket ball will acquire less velocity than a tennis ball when two balls are pushed with the equal force. The cricket ball is applied the force 10 Newton. Tennis ball ko bhi we are applying a force of 10 Newton. But since the mass of the cricket ball is greater, it will get displaced to a smaller extent. Whereas in case of tennis ball, the same force, that is 10 Newton का ही force apply किया है, but it will cover a larger distance. Why? Because of the mass difference. That's why I said mass and inertia are interrelated. Getting it? Same way, the other example would be a trolley. On a trolley, this is a trolley wherein the first trolley is loaded with some objects or a luggage. So it becomes, so the mass over here is greater and the mass over here is less. Here it is an empty trolley, here it is a loaded one. So it becomes, the force applied will be much greater. Why? Because the mass is greater, or in other words you can say that the inertia in such a case is maximum. Since the inertia is greater, it will become difficult to push or pull the trolley. But in this case, since it is an empty trolley, the inertia here is less. So it becomes easier to move a unloaded one as compared to a loaded one. So after knowing about the relationship between mass and inertia, as I said, as the mass increases, the inertia increases, or inertia is directly proportional to the mass. More the mass, more would be the inertia. And we studied two examples of a cricket ball and a trolley, loaded and an unloaded trolley, cricket ball and a tennis ball. One is heavier and one is lighter. The heavier object will have more inertia and the lighter object will have a less inertia. Now this inertia, this concept of inertia or inertia is of two types: inertia at rest and inertia of motion. This we can understand by examples, give reasons. So first we define about inertia of rest. What do we mean by inertia of rest? It says that if a body is at rest, I said if a body is at rest, it will remain at rest unless an external force is applied to change its state of rest. This property of a body is called as inertia of rest. Again I define it, inertia of rest. If a body is already at rest, it will continue or remain at rest only unless and until some external force is applied so that it can change the state of rest. Here the give reason, different give reasons are mentioned to explain how it works at rest. That is, for example, when a train suddenly starts, a train suddenly starts moving, what will you feel is the passenger standing will get a fall, but that too in a backward direction. Try to understand. A train suddenly starting will the person who is sitting inside it or standing will fall backwards. Now what would be the reason behind it? Listen to carefully. The reason is that the lower part of the passenger's body is in close contact with the train. Here inside the train compartment, the passenger is standing. Here the lower portion of the person's body is in direct contact or a very close contact with the train. Getting it? Now as the train starts moving, the person's lower part shares the motion at once. So as soon as the train starts moving, the lower portion of the person's body also starts moving. Not the person is not actually moving, but the lower portion in contact with the train starts moving. That is, out of the whole body, the body which is in contact, the part which is in contact with the train surface will continue to move. That is, the lower part shares the motion at once. But what about the upper part? The upper part, due to inertia of rest. Why inertia of rest? Because originally the train was at rest, therefore the body of the person was also at rest, and because of the inertia of rest cannot share the motion, that is, the lower motion is not shared by the upper part of the body, so it tends to remain. It will try to remain at the same place, and when the body is trying to stay at the same position, the lower part of the body moves ahead and the upper part is left behind. Left behind means he is not moving backwards, but actually he is trying to maintain his state of rest. So when he is trying to maintain, his lower part moves with the train, but he gets a fall in a backward direction. That is, the lower part of the body moves ahead and the upper part is left behind, and that is the reason why the passenger tends to fall backwards. Getting it? The give reason, that is, a train which was suddenly starts, the train which was already at rest suddenly starts, the person gets a backward jerk or falls backward. Again I explain the reason. A person standing in a stationary train is not moving, the train is at rest, therefore the body of the person is also at rest. Now as soon as the train starts moving, the part of the body, that is the lower part of the body of the person which was in contact with the train, will also come to motion. That is, along with the motion of the train, the lower part starts to move. But because of the inertia, the upper part of the body will try to maintain the state of rest, because the definition says the tendency of a body to maintain the state of rest is called inertia. So here the upper part of the body will try to maintain the state of rest, and therefore when it was trying to maintain the state of rest, the lower portion has already started moving, and to keep the upper part of the body at rest, he gets a fall in a backward direction. So that was the first give reason and an example to prove that the body continues to be in a state of rest. The second give reason, or in second example, would say that if when a hanging carpet, okay, hanging carpet बहुत दिन यूज करते हैं, तो the dust particles get settled within the pores of the carpet, is beaten, clean करने के लिए, हाँ, we are beating it just to clean it, beaten with a stick. What happens is the dust particles start falling out of it. Now let me explain it first diagrammatically, and then you try to read it and understand it. Now hanging carpet, let me make it a two-dimensional thing. That is a hanging carpet, but the carpet has such grids wherein there are pores in between. These are pores. This is microscopic. These are all pores, and what I have drawn is the dust particles. Now, if you take a stick, and hit it, if you try to hit it, what will happen is here first the carpet is at rest, and the dust particles which were in between are also at rest. Getting it? The dust particles as well as the carpet both are at rest. Now what I have done is I have taken a stick and I am trying to beat it. When I beat it, what will happen is the carpet will move ahead. That is, it has moved in a backward direction. The carpet has moved behind. But when the carpet has moved behind, the carpet is in motion. The carpet has moved because of the beat of a stick. The carpet has moved because of the stick which has beaten it, and because of the hard stroke upon it, what happens is the dust particles which were already in a state of rest, and because of inertia of rest, what happens is the dust particles will try to maintain the state of rest, and since they are trying to maintain the state of rest, even when the carpet goes ahead, the dust particle stays in its own place and they fall on the ground surface. Getting it? The carpet has moved behind. When you hit it, when you stroke it, when you beat it, the carpet has moved behind. So now the carpet is in motion. The carpet is in motion, but the dust particles which were there in between the pores, they are still in the state of rest, and therefore they are dislodged. They are dislodged from the pores and they will settle down or fall on the ground surface. So what does the textbook say? The reason is that the part of the carpet where the stick strikes comes in motion. Yes, I told you this. That is, the carpet has come into motion at once, while the dust particles which has settled on the fur, here this is your fur part, the dust particles which are on the fur, or you call it as pores of the carpet, while the dust particles settled on its fur remains in the position due to inertia of rest. Thus the part of the carpet moves ahead. Dekho, the part of the carpet has moved ahead with the stick, leaving behind all these dust particles which will fall down due to Earth's pull. Getting it? This is how the carpet is cleaned. So better not mentioned in the textbook. Always try to start cleaning the carpet from the top then to the bottom and hang it properly. Then it will be easier for you to remove the dust particles from top to bottom. Getting it? This was your second give reason. We continue with this, the third give reason, in the next video. Okay, students, thank you very much.